Now available in paperback and e-readers. E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a wicked werewolf in this action-packed all-new E-Steam series adventure. Get E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman in paperback and e-readers today. New Mexico's governor has suspended legal gun owners' rights to conceal carry their weapons for 30 days in the city of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
The governor of New Mexico says she has had enough. She has declared gun violence a public health emergency in her state and in its largest city, Albuquerque. She suspended the right to carry firearms in public. That suspension by Governor Michelle Grisham runs for 30 days. She says legal action will soon follow, but her decision to act sooner came after the shooting death of an 11-year-old boy near a stadium last week and 2 other cases this summer. Gun violence is the leading cause of death for children ages 1 to 19 in New Mexico.
Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many Black women can't find a husband and why 70% of Black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today. Now, in the aftermath of a series of shootings that took place in Albuquerque, New Mexico, including one that killed an 11-year-old boy outside of a baseball game, New Mexico Governor Michelle Grisham decided to unilaterally sign an emergency order that would bar legal gun owners from being able to conceal carry their weapons in the city of Albuquerque. Now, as New Mexico's Governor Michelle Grisham signed this executive order that she unilaterally created, she is claiming that this will alleviate a public health issue as related to gun violence and believes that this 30-day ban on legal gun owners being able to conceal carry their weapons will lead to a decrease in gun violence all across the city of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now, this entire proposal is a knee-jerk reaction to an increase in gun violence, and this emotional reaction from the governor is one that will have no real impact in decreasing gun violence in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now, the reason why this whole proposal won't work at all is because this whole proposal is based on feelings and not based on any sort of logical research. And with this proposal not being based on any sort of logical research, it really is something that was done based on sating Michelle Grisham's feelings about guns and not really anything that is based on actual statistics. Now, this entire proposal in and of itself is unconstitutional and violates the Second Amendment as related to Americans' right to bear arms, and this entire proposal is one that really should give everybody pause because we have a governor acting unilaterally to go out here and curtail Americans' constitutional rights in a similar fashion that New York Mayor Bill de Blasio did back in 2021 when he began to implement these jab mandates, and even back in December of 2021 wanted to go out here and insist that people have to take a shot just in order to go to work here in New York City. Now, both of these approaches are all about politicians looking to try to dictate to the people how they should behave, and also an attempt to virtue signal to everyone how they are going to be the bearers of morals and not look to apply rule of law, because it's the governor's job to apply rule of law to the executive branch and go out here and only administer based on the law. However, what has happened here is that New Mexico Governor Michelle Grisham is decided that she no longer wants to govern based on law. No, what she wants to do is govern based on feelings by unilaterally deciding to create this executive order to bar legal gun owners from being able to conceal carry their weapons, all based on how she feels as related to the increase in gun violence without ever thinking critically about how the law is applied to people. Now, a governor's job, again, is to govern the executive branch based on law, not go out here and create orders based on feelings. In order for a governor to go out here and enforce the law, they have to go out here and follow the laws that are presented to them by the U.S. Constitution first and by the state constitution second. And that is the whole scope of their job. And this is where New Mexico's governor is violating the Constitution and violating her own state constitution by going out here and creating this unilateral emergency order that clearly shows that she is completely out of line and shows that she is someone who is just not qualified to be in the position of governor. Now, when I take a critical look at this whole proposal of banning these concealed carry weapons for 30 days to decrease crime, it is one of the most ridiculous proposals I have ever heard in my life. Because as someone who has lived in the South Bronx and has dealt with the crime of the crack epidemic in the 1980s and 1990s and lived through a period of over 2,000 murders, I can tell you that a ban on legal gun owners isn't going to stop criminals because criminals do not follow the law. So how is a ban on legal gun owners going to stop people who basically go out here and take out illegal guns from stopping them from shooting whoever they want? Critical question I would like to ask New Mexico's governor, Michelle Lujan Grisham. Moreover, I would like to ask the question, how is a ban in one city going to stop all of the crime in the entire state of New Mexico? Again, critical question I would like to ask her, because the people who don't follow the rules regarding guns as related to concealed carry are not just going to Albuquerque to commit their crimes, they're committing their crimes all across the state. So banning these guns that by legal gun owners is just not something that is logically enforceable. And this is why the sheriff of Albuquerque is refusing to go out here and enforce this ridiculous whole executive order, because he knows it's not logically possible for him to go out here and enforce this policy for just 30 days. I mean, it is just absolutely ridiculous, because he knows that this will not stop gun violence against illegal gun owners, because it's not going to stop it, because they never follow the rules in the first place. Now, most gun owners who are legally concealed carry their weapons. Many of these individuals are extremely well trained. Many of these gun owners always follow the law. And most of these gun owners who are legal concealed carry, these are individuals in most cases who are not looking to go out here and use their weapons to go out here and harm anyone. No, in most cases, these gun owners want to only use their weapons for self-defense or for training when they're going to the gun range. And in all of these cases, a legal gun owner, if they are concealed carry, only want to, again, carry their weapons as a means of protection as part of a concealed carry state, and follow the laws as related to that firearm as they conceal carry that weapon. So when I look at the whole, again, increase in shootings, the real issue is not the legal gun owner. No, the real issue is the illegal gun owner. And again, the reason why you have an uptick in this kind of violence isn't really a gun issue. No, like I've stated in many of my man crisis videos, the real reason why you see an increase in this kind of violence is the complete collapse of the American family over the last 60 years. But that's something New Mexico's blue Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham doesn't want to talk about because it was her party that was the one that created the complete collapse of the American family by implementing many policies that established the welfare state and the social engineering of the single mother household, which socially engineered the feminist indoctrinated woman on the female side and created the beta male, a male who is socially engineered to so-called be kinder, softer, and gentler, but has become very impulsive, very emotional, and goes out here and reacts to situations by taking out firearms and using firearms to take the lives of people impulsively because he acts on his feelings and does not think critically. And because he acts on his feelings and does not think critically, this beta male is one of the engines that is driving most of the crime in most of these areas like Albuquerque. It is this beta male that is the one behind much of the shootings and gun violence, and it is this beta male that goes out here and participates in a lot of the extreme acts of violence, like going out here, like in a group of shootings that were targeted against Muslim men in the previous month of New Mexico, and many of the mass shootings that take place due to the dysfunctional way these boys have been raised in socially engineered single mother households that were created because many in America in the blue party and even the red party believed that you could have a home where you did not need a father, you did not need a man in the home to provide structure, you did not need a man in the home to provide order. And back when that man was in charge of that home, we had gun classes in public high schools, and even with gun classes in public high schools, because there was a father to provide structure and order, many of those boys could go out here and learn how to use firearms and never wanted to use a firearm to harm somebody else. And that basically shows me that the problem was not the legal guns. No, the problem was the complete breakdown of the family. But that's something many of the members of the Blue Party don't want to talk about, and many women like Michelle Lujan Grisham don't want to talk about, because if we talk about how these parents are not raising their children to be functional and be able to navigate life and deal with life, that means that we have to really confront parents about the way we're raising children. And we have many of these corporate businesses who are going to have to change the way they do business in order to make sure that we can raise healthy families instead of all the men and women in crisis who are out here participating in all these shootings. And these knee-jerk emotional reactions like Michelle Lujan Grisham are presenting, yes, this will get you a lot of press, but it will not stop any sort of violence. No, the way we stop gun violence is like I talk about in the Man Crisis, with a rebuilding of the family, a reestablishment of the father's authority in the home, an investment in men. That is how we stop gun violence, because if there is a functional family unit, you can go out here and decrease crime, because if there are fathers in the home to establish order and have an investment in the community, then you will have men who have an incentive to protect their communities instead of feeling like they have no sense of purpose and direction. And that is another motivator for a lot of the crime going on here in places like New York and in places like Albuquerque, because many of these males feel like they have no purpose or direction. So that's why you see all of this violence in all across the country. And again, barring legal gun owners from being able to defend themselves and protect themselves in a concealed carry situation doesn't stop the violence. No, it only impedes people from being able to protect and defend themselves, and it doesn't really change anything at all. But it does lead to the governor thinking that she can virtue signal. Unfortunately, this virtue signal has backfired dramatically on New Mexico's governor, who is now dealing with a whole lot of politicians on both sides of the aisle criticizing her, and many in her own state believing it's time for her to be impeached and removed from office for this clear violation of the state constitution, a clear violation of the rules as related to her job, because it is the governor's job to enforce the laws, not go out here and create unilateral legislation and create her own policies as related to law without any sort of consultation of the state representatives in the legislature. This is a clear overreach as related to the governor, and this governor shows that they are not fit for office, and it's time to terminate this governor's term in office because they have clearly abused their office and abused their power and show that they are not fit for the role of being in the governor's office. So when I look at Michelle Lujan Grisham, this is a woman who needs to be kicked out of office. And if the people of New Mexico don't have the backbone or the stones to do this, they basically are saying that they are going to allow themselves to be abused by an authoritarian tyrant who wants to go out here and impose her own emotional opinion as law, and that's not something that should be allowed in a country with a constitution which says that its first three words are "we the people." If the Constitution that says the first three words are "we the people," the statement should be that if somebody comes out here and abuses their office like this, that the people demand her resignation, because she has already shown that she cannot be trusted with the authority given to her by the public, and this violation of public trust is something that needs to be dealt with. And again, this is the time for Americans to not go out here and give her the gynocentric pass. No, this woman clearly needs to be held accountable, and needs to be held accountable because she has completely crossed the line, and you can't really let somebody like this stay in power. No, when somebody abuses power like this, this is the time to say it's time for this person to go, and it's time for Michelle Lujan Grisham to not only be impeached from office, she needs to be removed from office and never be allowed near the governor's mansion ever again. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up my men's issues books, which give you a solution on how to really stop a lot of this violence, like The Man Crisis and many of my other men's issues books, like Stop Simping in the Workplace, Stop Simping in Cyberspace, The Misadventures of Captain Save-'em. You can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, Google Play, and Barnes & Noble. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback. From the author of the critically acclaimed book, The Man Crisis, comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback at Amazon.com and online booksellers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.